So my name's Kai. I currently work at Roblox in marketing, and I work on a lot of different fashion products, specifically layered clothing, as well as a lot of things around our avatars. So whether that's facial animation or these like user-generated bodies and avatar heads that we're rolling out, I kind of own all of those things around there. And I've always just been so interested in self-expression in the digital space. One of the projects that I recently worked on was the Parsons collaboration that we did, where there was a like multi-week course where we taught folks how to create fashion in Roblox. And I really do believe that the future of fashion, like the next big designer is going to be someone who grew up either coding or creating in Blender, and then, went from there instead of sewing. So I think it's a really interesting time to be in the digital space and that convergence of fashion right now. But yeah, if you guys have questions about creating specifically on Roblox, the community is so vibrant and but is also a very like specific type of community. But on the other hand, the monetization opportunities, like we are the biggest co-experience immersive platform. So there's a lot of space there as well. And my interest in fashion has been since undergrad. I worked at a magazine at CR Fashion Book, as well as worked as like a stylist throughout school. So I love the industry, and it's been great to kind of work on more of these self-expression campaigns now. Hey, I think I see a hand. I see a couple hands. But yeah, open it down for to please ask me anything. I'm
Before
also
we
in
get any
debate
questions,
now. Oh,
um,
yeah, go.
are there any pieces of work that you could potentially show us or like examples of like Roblox fashion, just in case there are people who aren't so
Yeah,
familiar?
totally. Hold on. Okay, let me pull something. So one of the things that I worked on was our metaverse fashion report that we put out last year. And we're doing another one this year. And really just gives a good look. Hold on, let me see. Let me share my screen.
Yep, I can see your screen.
Can't see that. Okay, cool. Um, so this is online. This is like already published. This was another thing that we did in partnership with the new school in Parsons. Um, but it really kind of goes through and shows you, obviously this text is tiny, but what are the different kind of trends that you're seeing in digital fashion, specifically on Roblox. I think some of the things that stick out the most to me is how much people prefer this to create a fantasy type self-image on online. And I think that's what's so cool about digital fashion is that you really have this opportunity where the bounds of, the traditional physics and just the like physical limitations that you have when you're creating in real life don't exist. And also those, humanoid variations, I guess, for lack of a better word, also don't exist. So I think, the ability to kind of lean into the more like fantastical and just kind of unlimited creativity is something that has like stuck out to me. You're also seeing people that, or you're seeing kids like, and there's a couple quotes in here just about either how, children and like young adults, like these Gen Z is prioritizing digital fashion over physical goods. Like they would rather purchase something for their avatar that's going to be kind of like with them forever, um, rather than something physically. And then also just the we had Gucci on the or Gucci is on the platform, and they had a bag that sold for more than what the physical bag was worth in its like Robux equivalent. So it's really, really interesting to kind of see that prioritization, that examples of prioritization of real or digital fashion over what we've obviously like traditionally prioritized, which is in real life. Um, People are updating their avatars all the time, um, which is a really interesting like space to be in, as like half of Gen Z says they're changing their avatar clothing every week. Um, and really, I think people are looking for, yeah, expressing their individuality, feeling good about themselves, and using their avatar as a way to kind of explore identities that um, they're either that they think like represent a more fuller version of themselves. Um, but yeah, all of these items are like UGC. What if we go, let me go down a little bit, but some of the more like major designers on the platform it have been like Carolina Herrera, obviously Gucci. We've had more like fast fashion folks as well, like Forever 21 and like Dress X. But I think it's been a really cool uh time, especially as I think what we're seeing here is a convergence of trends where obviously like the physical world is influencing trends, whether that's like Barbiecore or, you know, Y2K influencing trends on Roblox, but Roblox is also kind of going the other way. And I think what you've seen with some designers recently, like kind of playing with the idea of like skins almost, or clothing that like looks almost fake or like digital clothing. It kind of speaks to that back and forth channel of what people are using. But yeah, let me know if there's any other questions. But yeah, that's like a brief. Here, I can stop sharing. And you can find that online. I can drop the link. Um, but that's a little overview of like fashion on Roblox and where it's going.
Was just going to let you know that I'm going to ping you here in the side as well. But there are some
Okay,
questions in the chat.
awesome.
Should just be on the side of this
Yeah.
kind of call. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let me scroll up. Oh yeah, my Instagram is private. I know. I'm like such a boomer to have my Instagram private. But you can add me on LinkedIn. Definitely add me on LinkedIn. I will drop that in the chat. So elaborate more on okay, can you elaborate a bit more on the Roblox community and what it's like? It's definitely a very dynamic space. Um, so our fastest growing demographic is 17 to 24, but we do have a very young audience overall on the platform. And I think what people are viewing, and sometimes you see stuff that is like some of the most popular avatar items. When we opened up UGC bodies in heads a few months ago, one of the and when I say UGC, so basically what we have right now is a closed we had like a closed amount of creators who you had to apply and go through this whole process to be able to create user generated avatar content on Roblox. We are now, and that was because of obviously as we're growing, like we're still a, relatively young company. Moderation and trust and safety are like our number one priorities, especially with how many young folks are on the platform. So we really want to make sure that, the moderation, like with scaling, is as well as we're just, keeping the quality of all of the marketplace at a really high level. What's been exciting now is, so what we rolled out a couple of months ago, like when I say UGC bodies and heads, it used to just be avatar items, but now folks who are part of this program can create bodies and avatar heads. But at our last developer conference, which was in September, which there's a lot of great like keynotes and things that you can watch online there. Um, but what we announced was that we're going to roll out all of the access to everyone to be able to create on Roblox. And that's really the vision. And what I'm working on right now, um, and like the products that I'm working on, supporting and marketing to developers and creators are are products that will help you create an experience and really lower it so you don't have to go into Blender. You maybe don't have to know all of the 3D modeling skills, which is obviously it's so difficult to like make these items. So you don't have to know all of these. It's just gonna make it a lot easier where you can like edit things from an experience. So if I want to, change the mesh on a dress or change the texture, and also incorporating a lot more generative AI into those products as well. But the reason why we're doing this is to open up the creation of avatar products to everyone. So everyone, like all of us here, would be able to create in the next coming months, and that just represents a really big step in our community. But back to like the type of community. So when we launched UGC bodies and heads, like the number one body was like this funny kind of like stick figure body. So I think what happens like when a lot of brands come on the platform, what their idea of what maybe sells in real life and what resonates on Roblox can be different. And I think that the community and when you're creating on Roblox, it pays off to really understand what what are the trends you're seeing in the community? What are these things that are resonating? And a lot of times it's just not it's not the kind of typical um items that you would like think maybe if you're thinking fashion. Sometimes it is, but there's also, a lot of like, as I said before, like fantasy items. I think one our like top selling UGC item this year was like these elf ears that had all these really cool piercings in them. So I think just like having a sense of humor also when you're creating really resonates with our community, and just that authenticity and like having like a sense of what is resonating at that time, which it obviously changes and evolves. And the community is such a strong one that like everyone wants to support each other. So like the more plugged in online, that also resonates as well. Okay. I know that was a very long-winded answer, but I hope that gave you some background. But okay, jumped in Roblox for the first time during the Metaverse Beauty Week. Yeah, there's a lot of digital fashion brands. So yeah, okay. So to that point, when we roll out, before I would have said to apply to the UGC program, but the best way to get involved is, yeah, by the end of this year, we will have it opened up to everyone. And then you'll just be able to start creating and uploading directly. Um, there's a lot of like UGC communities or like these existing creator communities, but we're gonna, and obviously this kind of group of 600, 700 people have been the main creators on Roblox so far, but definitely start checking it out, start creating. Obviously things take so long, but it's coming, or like takes so long to create so many of these items. So, um, kind of starting playing with it now, as we're getting towards the end of the year, then you'll just be ready to upload it once we're ready. And so yeah, you can create these avatar items themselves, whether that's, obviously like a dress. We don't support shoes yet, which is we're working on it. But or like accessories, but you can also just create like full avatars themselves. Where do you think the future of digital fashion, especially in game collectibles, would be? Yeah, so we have limiteds on the platform, which allow you to sell a like obviously limited amount of and amount of the items themselves. And I think that what that does, I think the collectibles, like limiteds piece, I think we're gonna see more and more of that, especially on Roblox. Like we weren't supporting that for a little while, but now we are, because I think that the valuation of creators' work when there isn't that economic uh kind of like limitation, um you don't fully you're not able to like fully capture, I think sometimes, or at least the value from the community, of what things are actually worth. So I think we're going to see more limiteds, more like collectibles, more things that are sold in like a limited quantity rather than just unlimited, anyone can purchase for all of eternity. And I think you're going to see that obviously drive up the price of the items themselves. So I think that the more people are I think you'll see higher quality items too, like on Roblox, like we are anyone can make 2D assets, like so anyone can make a t-shirt right now. But it's like the 3D like layered clothing you can't make. Um, but or yet, yeah, can't make yet. Um, so I think we're gonna see like more high quality, more limiteds that kind of represent almost the limitations uh of how we create online now, or create in real life now, where you're not gonna make obviously unlimited clothing. You have limitations and resource limitations, and I think creators' time needs to be valued as a finite resource, which it is, in the same way. What percentage does Roblox typically take from? So yeah, we take I believe it's a so what happens is when you sell on Marketplace, there is a cut. I can pull up our like DevX 1 second. Um so when you create on Marketplace, so basically Apple um takes a 30% cut, and so or a 40% cut, I think actually. So and then Roblox takes the 30% cut, and then the creator gets the 30% cut. We're always trying to figure out like how we can pass on more like savings to our developers. So it's something we're like actively working on, but yeah, that's how it currently stands today. Because we are on the App Store, we do have to like play by Apple's rules. I have a question for you guys. When you're creating, like, what are the trends you're seeing? What are you excited about creating? And what are the, Roblox, obviously, and otherwise, what are the spaces that you're interested in, that you're either on or like interested in creating on? I see everyone's typing. Also feel free if it's cool to unmute yourself. I also am super interested in like understanding what tools are the most useful for digital creators as well as we go into this new, uncharted world of artificial intelligence where like we are creating a lot of okay, feel free to jump in.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hey. Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been very exciting so far. I thought it'd be easier to jump on, so thanks for the offer. Um, yeah, I've been quite active in sort of the metaverse space. I've mainly been in Decentraland. That's sort of the place that I've been in most of my time, and then a little bit in Monoverse. And quite recently, as I mentioned in my first comment, I've started looking into Roblox. I've noticed a lot more people going in there. And just as a side note, a funny and quite an interesting conversation I had from someone with Meta actually, who has quite a few young girls, two girls actually, and like their daughters know Gucci through um your
Yeah, it's
metaverse.
crazy.
So she like the lady from Meta doesn't own anything Gucci, she doesn't have anything high brand, but her girls know those sort of high brands through wearing them or seeing people wear them on your platform. So I thought that was quite interesting and I wanted to share that with you. But in that sense, it's sort of to go back to your question, it's quite interesting in the sense of what trends are happening within the metaverse and how different they are to like how what we know in the fashion industry. And yeah, it's been quite a learning curve, but I'm very interested in sort of dabbling in creating a brand, I guess, for the metaverse that is different to my sort of more traditional digital fashion creations. Hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so you're creating on Decentraland and just so I know, do you guys create on Blender or like Maya and then go forward?
Yeah, and Blender is my main sort of one. I've only really created a few for Decentraland, but it just seems to work the best with the assets, the base assets that they
Mhm.
have. So it's just the avatar that they have available, and then you just build off it, is the way that that works at the moment.
Okay, cool. And when you're creating, like what are your pain points? What's like the most difficult stuff?
Um, Market research is probably the hardest, and just
That's a good
trying,
one.
yeah, just trying to find something that is obviously new so people will want it, but for it to be something that
Mhm.
people want. But obviously we can't it's not like normal fashion where you go, "Oh, we're going into the cold season, so people want to wear, you know,
Yeah.
thicker layers," or like, everyone will be looking for a jacket, for example. It's not like that. We don't know what trends will be in 2 months' time. We can only just predict and be like, "Oh, this is trending at the moment," or "People are enjoying this, so maybe people enjoy something similar to that or something totally different," for example. And out of the blue something really, really random, like for example in Decentraland, like a spatula was trending.
Yeah.
So you can like hold a spatula. Like no one thought it would trend. But
Who could
everyone
have
went
guessed
crazy
that?
over this one spatula. And it's just so hard to sort of navigate that, especially for new designers, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult when you're not like embedded in that community already.
Hmm.
And what's kind of cool is like on Roblox is like the pipeline really is like user to creator. Um, so like most of the people who create are like users already. So if you're like not ready to create on Roblox yet, definitely just go and play and or experience all of the different uh, spaces that are there. Obviously, there are a lot of branded spaces, but like our developers who are making like just the different experiences. I think there's so many.
Is it my connection or is everyone here? Oh no, you go.
All right, just confirming. Oh, strange. Let
See,
me
we've
ping
lost
her
you.
and let her know.
Mm-hmm. Thought it was me because I'm trying to render at the same time.
Me too. I couldn't tell if my VPN was failing. Um,
Like, is it me?
Not sure if Kai can hear me, but you might need to reconnect and repeat um the last like thing you said. Let's just wait a few minutes. Oh, I see her back.
Hey.
Hey, yay, you're back.
Hey, yeah, sorry. I just moved. I actually just moved to the Bay Area from LA. So, I guess my Wi-Fi that I like insisted on setting up myself. So, um, yeah, sorry, let me go back into the chat. Okay, from Celine. Yeah, the optimization on different platforms. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how, everything is so different right now and siloed. And obviously, like, one of the promises of the metaverse as like a concept is that like interoperable space where you're taking things from every platform and your avatar is just this one kind of constant identity that like follows you wherever you go. Um, but I do think that realistically, like, and this is obviously my opinion, but we're a bit far off from that. Like, I think we're going to continue to see for the next while, like having these kind of more distinct communities, um, because of just the technology isn't there right now. Um, but when you guys are creating, like, another question for y'all, are you guys mostly creating on Decentraland? Like, if you want to just put in the chat, like, yes or no, or like, what are the platform? I'd love to just know, as we're trying to get more and more people just to create on the platform.
Decentraland is probably just me. Um,
I do think there's
no,
a large variety because not everyone is like fully onboarded onto Web3 as well. We do have a lot of people in this cohort who this is their first experience with Web3 or like, digital assets, I guess. So there's a good variety. But if anybody else who has been a digital creator could just ping in the chat or come on the mic and talk about like, what platforms and programs they've been using, that'd be really great.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will hopefully, like, hopefully as like we make things easier for people and really like so going back to what I'm working on right now, these like, and when I say inexperienced creation, what that means is like you're able to create things from so like you go into a world, like into like one of our that is user created on the platform, and you're able to edit, you're able to like maybe even like cut something the way you would cut something in real life, like as you're, sewing. Um, okay, I'm seeing. Okay, awesome. That's cool. Yeah, so what we're trying to do is because I can't 3D model, I suck. So, like, it's so hard. I, like, understand how difficult and how much time it takes for folks. So what we're kind of doing is, like, starting to provide these tools really like over the next, I mean, it's a long-term project, but we just announced a lot of them at our conference. But it's to yeah, have people be able to literally just create something without using like Blender at all. And then also be able to create stuff from text prompts and then edit it further. So you type in to like our generative AI technology, I want a like fantasy or dress that is, has a metallic bronze sheen and is shaped like a tulip on the bottom, whatever. And then you're able and then it will generate, um, and that's, like, the cool thing instead of just having it be, like, traditional AI, which traditional AI just, like, pulls from different references or it just pulls the physical item, um, instead of, like, creating something that's a totally net new, item. So that's one of the things that we're, like, working on is that, like, generative AI for accessories and avatar items. But and then the other side is we're creating technology that's going to be, like, photo to avatar. So you could, like, upload any photo, that you obviously have the rights to, that then would generative A and then you'd upload it into our, like, Gen AI technology, and it could be a selfie, and then it would spit out, like, an avatar that looks like you, that is completely new, so and then I think going and I think that kind of creator flow is gonna look kind of more like you creating something through this Gen AI and then editing it through our, like, mesh and texture APIs that we're rolling out, which developers will be able to, like, implement, and then you'll be able to kind of just through just like a UI or like a just a regular like an interface that the developer would determine like what they want it to look like. But so maybe it's like sliders or you can like physically like move the item yourself, then be able to like edit it further. So that's our vision. And I really hope that, that kind of opens up this whole new creation or like era of creation on Roblox, and really like allows people to I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting like a million slacks this morning already. I'm like 7:30 in the bay. But and really like gives people that confidence that anyone can be a creator. You don't have to have these like really technical skills, and I think it will also kind of lower that barrier to entry for traditional designers who are working in the physical world, to be able to start creating there as well. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions. I can keep ranting about the metaverse for sure. Um, but yeah, I would love to be helpful. I do think it will be cool to kind of see people like, experiment more. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, it's a little off topic, but I was just wondering, last time I jumped on, I spent obviously coming from Decentraland, spent a good 10 minutes designing my character. only to go into one of the games that probably my character wasn't compatible with, and so something glitchy kind of happened, and I like went back. Half of me went back to the default character, I think. Is there something that is like preventable on the creator side for that not to happen? Or
Preventable on the creator side. So, uh, on Roblox, like everything should work. There are some like uh different tech stacks right now. We have one that has like our kind of older one, which has like 6 body parts, and then our new one, which has 15. So like 15 body parts for the avatar. And we are moving towards obviously like the 15 part one because there's increased motion, realism, you can have facial animation on those avatars. Um, so we're personally real I can't obviously I don't know about Decentraland, but um we are rolling out, we'll have already rolled out products for developers that will help them kind of bridge that gap. So any user who goes into an experience and has maybe an older avatar, or a newer avatar going into an experience that's maybe older and like optimized for the older avatars, it will just like work automatically and seamlessly, and you won't have any kind of oh my, like I lost the like for us, like the layered clothing, the like 3D clothing, um, uh, is only compatible with our like R15, like the 15 body part avatars. So yeah, I can't speak to Decentraland. It's not a creator issue, at least for like for Roblox. Not a creator issue platform uh that's like on our side, and that's something that we have like rolled out stuff that folks can implement, so that doesn't happen, and so you can seamlessly go wherever you want in whatever you want, and never have to like worry about, you shouldn't have to worry about what is and isn't working in different experiences. That's our job.
awesome, thank you so much.
I know you guys like are onboarding, but I'd love to stay in touch. Like, please add me on LinkedIn. Um, I know that's such like a formal social media, but like, please message me. Because I would really love, like, as you guys are starting this creation process, just to hear about any issues you have. As I said before, like all of these platforms, we're all growing, we're all figuring out new things, we're all, creating these products that we want to be able to support new designers in the best way. Um, and like the more for me, like the more feedback and things that I can learn, and I take those learnings to the product team. And just really helps us understand what is like the most useful for folks.
I do have another question. This is probably more of a
Yeah.
Web3 sort of question. Um,
Okay.
the sort of overall conversation, especially in metaverse sort of areas, is sort of interoperability. So being able to take your assets from one
Mhm.
world to another one. And I know quite a few metaverses have started playing around with it. They've either taken in VRMs, so you can take your VRMs into their platform, or the other way around, you can download your avatar from their platform as a VRM and then take it into other ones that are VRM compatible. Is that something on your pipeline, or if it already is? Sorry, but I don't think I've seen it, but I'm just wondering if it is.
Yeah. So what I'm yeah, what we do is you have your avatar, your clothing, and the way Roblox works is that everyone can develop their own experience, their own world, and put it on our platform. It's almost like when you go on the platform, it looks like almost like an app store. You know, there's just all of these different experiences that you can go into, and some of them have portals to other experiences, so you can just kind of seamlessly transport yourself with your avatar. So within Roblox, our avatars are like interoperable, I guess, for in like that way. You know, you're just like constantly moving with the same um representation, and with that and with those clothes with your avatar clothing, um and obviously your inventory stays the same, but for we don't have any compatibilities with other platforms at the moment. I do think that like the coordination it's going to take between all these, just this is my personal opinion, between all of these uh, different companies like Meta, obviously Roblox, like Decentraland, to create like interoperability without it being on Web3, without it being on blockchain. Because Roblox is Web2, just so y'all know. Like we are on just www.roblox.com. I think the benefit to that and why we are so successful is because like obviously the barrier to entry for the new technology that is Web3 is still a bit high right now. Like I think the main folks that are on there are obviously early adopters, which is how, you know, that's how tech um becomes like implemented and adopted. But what I think is kind of good about Roblox right now, and I think we're kind of in the sweet spot, like we are the largest metaverse. Like we I think our like daily active users are like 65 million. Um and we have a very engaged community that spends on Roblox. Like we have a bit like a pretty high spend comparatively, is that it is on Web 2. It is more accessible. You don't even like you can just jump in, sign up, and be on your way and start exploring. So that's always it's the interoperable thing. I think will probably be like when we get to like our Web3 world. Or I mean, which we're obviously already there, but like when that is at scale, but like currently Roblox is uh, on Web 2, and I think that for me, I'm really passionate about like access and like democratizing access. And I think for a lot of people, like, you know, creating a wallet, like having to kind of go through those steps is like not super accessible to folks right now. Um, uh, so I do think in the short term, like the metaverses that are gonna do the best are the ones that continue to like prioritize super easy access. But that's my personal opinion, obviously.
No, yeah, I actually agree. Definitely, definitely. Like jumping into the spaces as well. It's like yours is the most active and the most people sort of are around me. And obviously it's to do with like your UI as well, of sort of pushing the spaces or the games up to the top that have a lot of active users in it or people who are enjoying them in
Mm,
general. I think that's super smart. Like I don't think any sort of Web3 metaverses are doing it that well yet. Like they're trying to definitely, and obviously improving every day. But yeah, on the sort of onboarding side, it's kind of ironic almost that the Web3 sort of metaverses are sort of going backwards, and they've started putting in their pipelines things like social logins and things like that are in the pipelines now.
mm.
So they're like going backwards into, I guess, sort of your system and what you got, what's working for you, and just trying to figure out the best way to bring more people into the space. So in that sense, yeah, I think quite interesting. really. But we'll see where it goes from
Yeah.
here.
I know. It's such a crazy world that we're in, and it's just so funny, like, to even think about what I do now, like, where I'm working on. I'm, like, prioritizing on, like, avatars, or that's my focus, and just, like, crazy that this is the world that we live in, but also, yeah, really exciting time for self-expression, but, yeah, I think it's interesting, like, for Roblox, you can technically get on there, like, without even putting in an email, but obviously for the security of your account, you wanna sign up with an email, um, it really is just a, like, super, yeah, just this kind of, like, majorly accessible platform. But it will be interesting to see where users shift and go to in the future, as well as how like other more gaming centered um, spaces like Fortnite, um, how they start kind of incorporating more of this user generated creation piece because you can't scale the metaverse, again, my opinion, but like I do not think you can scale the metaverse without it being user generated, like, creator generated. No one's going to be able to just go and make at scale. That is just insanely expensive, and just not scalable. Uh, to go make all of the items and the worlds that are necessary, like obviously for this, and I don't think it's going to be brand led. I think it's going to be led by the creators themselves. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions. I know we're almost at time. um but again, would love to connect and stay in touch. Is there anything else you'd like me to answer before I?
Not at the moment, I don't think. We don't have any questions. I wasn't sent any questions beforehand either. But I
Okay,
think we're
cool.
quite close to our proposed like ending time. So I mean, if we receive one or two more questions now, of course we can keep going. But if we don't, we could totally wrap up as well. And again, like you're open to receiving questions and answering questions via
Mhm.
your LinkedIn, right?
Yes, totally. Add me on LinkedIn. Message me on LinkedIn. You can also add me on Instagram. Like it's fine. But it's just my more like personal Instagram. But for all the professional stuff is on LinkedIn. Um, but yeah, literally any thoughts you have, I'd like love to hear them. Any trends you're seeing. If you have any questions about like creating on Roblox or like when you, hopefully, inevitably, when you get started, um, I can definitely like help point you in like the right direction and connect you with anyone who would be relevant. But definitely keep an eye out on us for especially the next couple of months. There's going to be a lot of movement. Obviously, that opening up of the creation of avatar items is happening like imminently. And that's just going to be like such a major change. And then over the course of the next year, you're going to see, as I like spoke about before, those products that are really going to make everything a lot easier and a lot more accessible, um, for everyone. And I think we are entering on Roblox, we're entering into like a new era of creation. Um, and would love to have like awesome uh new young designers there that are like interested in experimenting on the platform. But yeah, with that, I will jump. Gotta go drive to work. Um, but thanks so much. This was great.
Thank you so much for giving your time to the residency. And as always, I'll send your socials, both the LinkedIn and the Instagram, in the chat afterwards. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and have a great night or great day.
Okay, bye.